Hey, West Central Saskatchewan, Nick Nielsen here, and as you can see, joining me on screen is Wilkie's own Emily Nodwell, a professional dancer who has been living out east for a while and now is actually out on a cruise ship. So, Emily, thanks for joining me. How's things going?
Things are good, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be back here in a little closer to home in West Central Saskatchewan. But we're here to talk about what's going on with you, Emily. So, first of all, tell me about this kind of whole opportunity you got out here in this cruise ship. How did this kind of all work out? I know you've done this in the past, so kind of just give me the rundown on how this all comes together.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock to me. It wasn't too long sitting on my couch in Toronto, not a whole lot on. Just asked if I was kind of available immediately to fly out to LA and get on a ship. And, I was pretty excited for that. I'm actually on the very first Princess ship that's back to service. So we get guests on the 25th, so in a few days. And yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm in Seattle right now and can't wait to finally get on stage and start performing with some audience. And yeah, it's been a whirlwind. It's go go go, but I'm super happy to be back and where I belong. And yeah, it feels great.
Quick cut for technical difficulties. There we go.
It's all good.
So I guess we kind of left off before we got cut off, and I'm not sure what got recorded from your end, but just talking about that process for you getting onto the boat here over the last, what is it, month or 2 weeks, or kind of what's kind of timeline?
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I flew out June 20th from Toronto to LA, and then kind of straight into quarantine, of course, like a bunch of COVID tests before flying out, and then once landing, and then we get vaccinated. Some flew out already fully vaccinated. There's 1,500 crew on board, so it's they have to take care of quite a bit. But yeah, 2 weeks of quarantine. They fed us well, and I got a nice little balcony suite, so I didn't mind quarantine, so it was pretty good. And then we were let out after our negative COVID tests and into the theater and finally got to meet my cast. Yeah, I only knew 3 other people I was going to be dancing with. Everybody else, full new cast. So yeah, we've been working hard trying to get these shows back and ready to be on stage. So yeah,
Oh, that's
been
awesome.
good.
That's awesome. I'm glad for you. It seems
Mm.
like you were really enjoying what you've been doing over the last few years. I mean, I know I grew up with you, so I know dance has been a passion of yours for a long, long time. But does it still have that same kind of luster to it that you did when you were a kid? That was something I know you were so passionate about growing up in high school and stuff like that. Does it still feel the same to you when you're doing this, or is there a different change to it now that you've been doing it and making your living off it now?
There's a difference. Now I'm making my living off of it, which helps. But no, there's that yeah, that same feeling. You can't really describe it, but it was pretty emotional. We had our first show in the theater. We're doing a simulation cruise right now, so we've just got about 250 guests on, but they're all head office, so guests, but not quite guests. And we did our first show a couple days ago, and that was pretty emotional. I think it was just overwhelming for us all to, you know, and actually performing to some faces. So no, it's I can't really describe the feeling that dance gives me, but yeah, which I think is a great thing. I think it's awesome to absolutely still be so in love with what you do, and that's where I'm at. So I'm going to keep doing it until that falls apart.
I know what you're talking about. I'm in the same boat with what I'm doing these days. So, but anyways, I guess what's it kind of been like, getting into that process now that you can look back on things a little bit, and you've been doing this for what is it, 6, 7 years now? What, how was that kind of transition like from, when you're first doing this thing in high school, kind of, just a recreational activity, and then you turn it into that career that you've made? Like, what was kind of that process of breaking into the professional dance world?
Yeah. Well, I knew when I was, I think, 15 that I I just knew as soon as school was done, as soon as high school was done, I was taken off, and dance was what I wanted to do. So yeah, I took the trip out to Vancouver, and I was in a pretty intensive training program for a full 10 months. And then things actually started rolling pretty quickly there because the connections were so great that I made in that program. And then I ended up signing with a talent agency that year, which was awesome. So I got to break into a bit of the film and TV market out in Vancouver. And then I just started doing some company work, some dance company work. And I was there for about 3 years, just doing company work, the odd contract, and then flew out to Toronto after 3 years and just kept doing the same thing. Just more job opportunities were coming, and yeah, it's funny to be an artist though. You can be working lots of the time, and then there's times where not a whole lot's going on. But I think I've been pretty lucky, and the places I've been, there's always been opportunity, and I've managed to grab a hold of them. And so yeah, I've been busy, which is great as an artist. So
Hey, being busy is never a bad thing. And that kind of transitions, though, into the next question I wanted to ask you. Over the last, what has it been, 16 months that we've been dealing with the pandemic, what was that like for you? I mean, you go from doing shows in front of crowds of people, and then all of a sudden those crowds, they're not there anymore. So what was that like for you?
that was hard. And I mean, luckily I can't complain too much because I am lucky to be to be from Canada and to be in a country that, it is okay in the scheme of things, because I know some people don't have it as well. And so, yeah, but as far as the dance aspect goes, and even just the life in general, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty down for a chunk of COVID and all that it was going on. Just because we had no idea, and it was tough because the companies we were working for didn't really have any idea either. Just because everything going on in the world, different countries, and yeah, things were so different all across the globe, and they were on their different timelines, and so nobody really had an idea. So it was tough, and it's not even like studios were open where you could dance. At least in Toronto, everything was quite shut down until the last couple weeks. So yeah, it was very weird. It went from 100 to 0, and it stayed that way for a long, long time. So just tried to keep busy with other hobbies and tried to keep somewhat in shape, as we
Yeah.
all did. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually, yeah. Anyway, and that I know, like, I think I saw you even doing like some like online dance classes or something like that during kind of the tail end of things too, eh?
Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I
I'm glad.
was,
Well, oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, yeah, I was lucky when I was in Saskatchewan um, for a bit of COVID last summer. Yeah, I got to do some teaching there, which was great. Because as soon as I moved back to Toronto, it was kind of going from Saskatchewan was nice because there was some things going on, and then to Toronto was a bit of a ghost town. But yeah, I was lucky for a bit there.
Oh, that's good. But now it seems like you're kind of getting back into the swing of things. It's got to be a bit of reinvigorating for you, hey?
Oh my gosh, yeah, you can't put it into words. And I know my family's excited because hopefully they can. It's a nice excuse for them to get on a cruise once things kind of calm down a bit. So they love it. They love that I'm out here.
Oh, that's good. Now, one more kind of odd question about the pandemic, and then we'll get rid of that stuff completely because I'm tired of talking about it already. But I know the cruise ships, they're kind of towards the start of the pandemic, like they were kind of a bit of a rough place to be around. I know that they were a place where a lot of things were spreading. Now that you're kind of getting into the swing of things there, is there any nerves about that? Like, I know you said a lot, like people on there are getting vaccinated, so I'm assuming that you guys are probably feeling pretty good, but I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So, and that was definitely a worry before coming out here. And I think, I know I've had friends who were stuck at sea for months. Like guests were able to fly home and whatnot. I know some guests were even stuck on, not my ship that I was on previously, but other ships. So, that was a worry. I'm like, who knows what's going to happen? It could be going well, and then all of a sudden it's hard to know, but I feel so safe and so secure. I think the way Princess has handled this, and the training, I'm not going to lie, we've had quite a bit of training, and lots of yeah lots of trainings. We've had quite a few people come on board just to check the new procedures as far as COVID goes, but we've got 1,500 crew on board right now, and 250 simulation guests, I guess, but not a single COVID case, which is amazing, and it makes you feel very hopeful that things are going to go smoothly. But yeah, we're kind of the test ship. We're the first one back with guests, so we've got a lot of eyes on us, but I feel very safe. I feel like the ship is just, it's too clean. It feels like a very safe environment. So yeah, we're just gonna keep as safe as we can, and I think it's gonna go really smoothly. Well, that's my hope, but I feel good. I feel good about it. So.
Oh, that's awesome though. I'm glad you're excited, and I'm curious about the process of how that works too. Like, obviously, quite a bit of crew on. I know that's not all for the dance crew and stuff like that. That's all ship stuff going on too. But I want to focus on the dance thing here. So, how does it work for coming into this kind of thing? Like, I know you said there was, I think, 3 people that you knew coming in. Is there like a coordinator that already has a routine together for you guys, or do you guys have some input into how that's going to work and how the performances are? Like, what's the kind of performance schedule like for you? How does that kind of all machine all work?
Yeah. So as far as like all of us getting out here, there's one, well, basically one, he's the kind of head of entertainment. He, is in charge of casting and all that stuff. So before even booking this job with Princess in the first place, you have to audition. So whether that's you submit, your stuff online. I auditioned in person in Toronto, and then I got offered a job a couple months later. So um, yeah, and it's pretty funny. That was my first contract with them, and they fly you out to LA. You meet the rest of the people, which is pretty amazing because I was the only Canadian, and I'm still the only Canadian in this cast too. So you meet people from all over, So I'm learning little bits of languages here and there, but yeah, I think they look at what they want as a whole, and they want the shows to be nice and diverse. So you meet people from all over. They bring you in, you rehearse. As far as this time around, these shows, we were handpicked, but the shows that we're doing on the ship, all of us had done on previous contracts. So it's nice because I know the shows. Obviously, they need a good refresher. All of us need a good refresher, but at least we have the knowledge of the shows. So um, yeah, so they bring us in, and then we kind of get back onto the stage and start rehearsing and start meshing with each other, because you're partnering with new people, and it's a new stage, it's new everything, but at least we have the knowledge of the shows, which is good.
Oh, that's awesome. Where was the craziest place that somebody's dancing with you from?
I think the coolest place, I felt bad. Maybe I should know of this place, but I didn't. He was from Moldova. He was on my last
Okay.
contract. His name was Vlad. He was from Moldova, and so yeah, so that was pretty cool. But there's lots of English, lots from England. We've got a lot of Ukraines, and Australia. That's quite a bit of the cast, and then there's me. That's the cast and the
The one
states.
Canadian
So
showing up, eh? So how
Canadian,
much do
yeah.
you have to deal with like the Canadian A and maple syrup jokes from all the other cast? Is it often?
Well, uh, yeah, they every once in a while they'll like poke out something I say, and of course I don't notice it, and I'm like, it's funny because guests think I'm American. They just naturally think it's like they forget about Canada.
Right?
But someone thought I was from Texas, so that was quite a shock last time. But I have my name badge that I wear. We have name badges we wear around that says our first name and then our role on the ship. So I've got Emily, cast dancer, and then Canada. Um, so yeah, that kind of sets it straight. But yeah.
Awesome. So where's
Yeah.
this cruise ship taking you all? Like how long you on there for? Where are you all going?
Yeah, so we're in Seattle right now. We pick up guests, like real guests on the 25th, and we are doing 7 day sailing from Seattle through Alaska and back. Um, and we're doing that until October, and then we're going to do some Mexican cruising. So that's nice. I get to skip out on a bit of winter, but I will be back in Toronto mid-December. So I'm away for it's about a 6 month contract. Um, yeah, so Alaska, I'm excited because I've never seen Alaska, so I get to see it for the first time on the 27th. But we get to go to Juneau, Skagway, Ketchikan. We get to do some Glacier Bay. It's scenic cruising, and yeah, I'm very excited. Very
Oh, that's
excited.
awesome. That's going to be an awesome trip. And that do you get like seasick and all after 6 months on there, or do you get pretty acclimated pretty quick?
It's funny, like the ship is so big. It fits 3,700 guests and 1,500 crew. So it's a floating city, really. I'm like, and I make the joke, this place is bigger than, like, it's got more people than my hometown, and people don't really
Yeah,
get that. But
you and I grew up in Scott, so I mean it's not like it's much to beat, but still.
right, it's like to have 8 restaurants on one ship, like it's it's crazy. So it's great because you don't really feel that seasickness. It eventually, especially if you're used to it, it's pretty good. For the first time ever, though, getting out of quarantine and back on stage, we were having some rocky weather. We were near Mexico a couple weeks ago, and it was a little rocky. So I had, for the first time ever, had to take some seasickness tablets. But so far, so good after that.
Oh, that's good. Last thing I'll
Yeah.
ask you here, Emily, is just for any dancers who, maybe are thinking about trying a kind of a career in this sort of thing, any advice that you have for kids who would be wanting to get into this?
Um, yeah, well, first of all, I say absolutely just go for it, because I know, first of all, it's scary, and I think some people are scared to take that leap. But if you do pursue a career in dance, like the memories you make and the experiences you get and the places you see, like it's just, you can't compare it to anything else. And yeah, I think especially while you're young and your body's not broken down on you yet. Mine's getting there, but you got to go for it. I think there's just time to do so many other things in life afterwards. So I think when you're young, and if you've got that burning passion in you, I think you should absolutely just go for it. Keep working hard and just go for every opportunity, because I'll tell you, I've had a million no's. I was auditioning for a cruise ship for almost 6 years, and was making it to the very end of the audition every time, and they take your papers and you don't hear, but you gotta, if it's something you want to do, you gotta keep going, and I think it will work out for you. So yeah, just gotta keep pushing through. It's one of those tough things, but it's totally worth it if you do it. So
Awesome, Emily. I don't know if I got anything else to ask you. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or anything you think we missed here?
I feel pretty covered. That Yeah, I feel I feel great.
Well, we've been in the meeting
Great.
for about 20 minutes now, so I think we've been able to go over quite a bit here, Emily, for sure. But either way, good luck to you on the cruise. I'm so happy for you that you're getting out there once again and being able to do what you love. So thank you very much for taking some time to chat with me. And thanks to the folks who tuned in on westcentralonline.com for watching too.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it.